Welcome to This Week in Westerly with your host, Michael Niemeyer.
Welcome to This Week in Westerly. I'm Michael Niemeyer. This is my producer, Ben Barber. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Great. Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning to everyone out there. And here we are. It's 12 score and 5 years since the American Revolution began. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's only been 8 score since the Gettysburg Address.
It's only been 8 score. Can you believe how fast these score go by?
I can't believe it. I've so I guess I've only been alive for 1.5 score, little more than 1.5 score.
About 1.5 score we've been here.
A little more. You're barely over it.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit further over. Why are we doing this? Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
It's 4th of July weekend in Westerly, and things are a lot back to normal, which is wonderful. So what's new in Westerly this week, my friend?
Well, some things I wanted to highlight, given the nature of the weekend. Misquamicut Club over in Watch Hill is around dusk on July 4th. They'll be doing their fireworks. It is not a public event, but they should be pretty visible, I think, to the general community around there. So if you want to see some fireworks, they're lighting some off. Also, the Weekapaug Inn is having the Independence Day Family Carnival with fireworks. That is from 7 to 9 p.m. on July 4th. I see here that a table of 4 is $540, so I guess get your tickets in there. That's at the Weekapaug Inn. And other than that, just go out and enjoy some of the wonderful restaurants we have around here. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy this holiday where we celebrate 245 years of a country constantly striving to be more free, more independent, and just better with every generation. I think we've carried that torch remarkably for a quarter of a millennium. It's unique in all of human history. Let's go celebrate it with a beer, I guess.
I love that you started out by saying what was it, 18 score?
12 score.
12 score. So you started out by saying 12 score, and you're like, wow, that doesn't feel like a long time at all. And then you say a quarter of a millennia, and you're like, oh my God, America's been here forever. You're killing me. You're killing me this week with these time, with the verbiage that you're using to describe time. It's disorienting me.
I'm causing some time dilation.
Yes, and I don't like it. I don't like it, Mike. But that's amazing. Tonight, if you want to get out of the house tonight at the drive-in, Billy Gilman, who is a local boy who grew up to be, well, actually, when he was a local boy, I was going to say a local boy who grew up to be a very famous singer, but he was a very famous singer when he was a local boy as a young child. And of course, had a resurgence in 2016 with The Voice, and everyone who's listening to this knows who Billy Gilman is. He will be live tonight with his band at the Drive-In Theater. So you can go check that out. I'm sure that there's still tickets available at nbadrivein.com. And of course, Misquamicut has a bunch of events over the 4th of July holiday weekend.
Definitely go check out Billy Gilman. He's awesome.
I'll be there.
Ben will be there too. Go for Ben.
Yep. Not performing.
No.
Unless he asks, but I probably will say no.
He went to Richmond Elementary School, and just before he became very famous, he participated in a talent show where I also participated. And if you ever want to feel outclassed, be a first grader trying to compete with Billy Gilman in a talent show.
If you ever, I was in chorus in Richmond. So all three of us went to Richmond Elementary School, And when I was in 4th grade, he was in 3rd grade, and he stood directly in front of me in chorus. Um, and it wasn't so much a chorus as it was Billy and the backup singers, even in 3rd grade. Uh, but that was very nice. So anyway, um,
I do have one other thing I wanted to bring up. The school
yeah,
building subcommittee. Pretty soon they're going to be talking. They're going to be opening up some public workshops. You can check it out at the Westerly Sun here, seeking input on the building plan options for the schools. They don't have any dates set in stone yet. But you can see some of the plans here on this article. Go ahead, check it out in the Westerly Sun. And they will be giving a status update, the school building subcommittee will, on July 19th at the regular town council meeting. So if you're interested in providing some of this public input about the way that our school buildings are going to be handled in the near future, go ahead, check out that Westerly Sun article and get ready to participate in these public forums, because this is an important aspect of democracy, particularly small town democracy. And it's wonderful that we get to do it. So let's do it. And I'll see you there, I guess, when they're announced.
absolutely. Mike, your haircut and lighting both look awesome today. I just wanted to let you
That's
know
wonderful.
that. Yeah, you're
Thank you.
nailing it. I gave you the show last week, and now all of a sudden you're like, "Whoa, I should put on a button." I mean, you've had that button up on, but oh, I should get a haircut and yeah. Maybe get a new lamp. Um, anyway, uh, why don't you introduce your guest for today? Because we got a chance to meet her a little bit before the show, and I'm really excited. A lot of important work that she's done for many. I'm not going to say too many manys because that might be for a long time. A lot of important work, and I'm really excited that you got her on the show today.
Me
So
too.
take it away.
Our guest today is Madeline Labriola. She's moved here from Hudson Valley, New York, 6 years ago. She's a former phys ed teacher and health teacher and high school assistant principal. But more than that, she is coming off of 60 years of activism. She's been involved in organizations that you're familiar with from our show, like the Westerly Area Peace and Justice group, the Westerly Anti-Racism Coalition. She's also been involved in Pax Christi, Green Faith, St. Vincent de Paul, and Safe Schools, Rhode Island. Her ethos is centered around faith-based action, and it can be summed up as every person is valuable and deserves to be loved and respected. What a revolutionary notion in this day and age. I've gone on too long. Let's bring out Madeline Labriola.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being with us. Tell me how your Saturday, well, we're filming a little earlier, but what will you be doing on Saturday?
Well, I was hoping the sun would come out and I could spend the day at the beach with some of my family. But if that doesn't happen, I'll just get together because I have 3 of my 5 children living in Westerly.
Oh, wow.
And that's why I kind of moved from the Hudson Valley. So we always get together, but probably tomorrow I'd also like to maybe go see In the Heights if it's raining.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Have you seen that yet?
I haven't yet, but I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so that's kind of my iffy plans.
Well, I hope those pan out. Why don't you tell us a little bit? You intimated about it a little bit there, but what brought you here to Westerly?
Well, many years ago, we came camping at Burlingame, believe it or not, and loved the area. We built a little house in Charlestown and went to Charlestown Beach for some of those years. And then when I retired from teaching, and I noticed that my children had all moved out of this little town of Highland. And as much as I love the community there and I have family there, I was drawn back to this area. One, because it's so beautiful and I love the ocean. It's a small town, which I also find intriguing, but mainly because my children, 3 of them are here, and I love being with them. Very family oriented. So that I hope they love being with me as much as. So
That's
far, so good, but we'll see. So, I kept coming in the summer for almost 20 years, but then going back to New York and finally sold my house and moved here.
So you were originally a summer visitor,
Yeah.
and what brought your children here, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, they also love the ocean, the beach. They're fishermen and fisherwomen.
Mhm.
So my oldest son married someone from uh, Stonington, actually, that he met at college. He went to Southern Connecticut. And so they were the first 2 to move here and raise their family. All 4 of their daughters went to Westerly High School. And
Oh.
then my son bought a restaurant. Um, and some of the family came to help him the first year, 22 years ago. And little by little, they settled here. They just love the ocean, the water, the outdoors.
Oh, that's great. What
Yeah.
restaurant is that?
Patty's. My son is
Patty's.
co-owner of Patty's, yes.
Oh,
22 years he's been there.
that's wonderful. Patty's is such a wonderful place. He's done a great job.
He's done a lot in that time. I've seen him really blossom there. So.
Oh, man. Well, I had mentioned at the top that you are coming off of 60 years of activism. Could you talk to us a little bit about the early part of that, how you got involved in becoming an activist?
Well, I say 60 years because when I started my family and I was very young, I was 20 when I had my first child, and then I had 5 children before I was 30. So my activism for that time in my life was on hold, but it was during the 60s, the mid 60s. And I was aware of many things going on, civil rights, the war in Vietnam, etc., but didn't have very much time, obviously, to keep up with it or to do the things that I really wanted to. But as my family got older, I felt a real need to be involved, especially in the area of war and peace and justice. I was like, I want my children to grow up in a world where they're safe, that they can solve their problems in a nonviolent way, and that they are loved and respected, and they love and respect other people. So I got involved mainly in Pax Christi from a priest friend who I knew at a local monastery in Hudson Valley. There's many monasteries. One is Mount St. Alphonsus, which, anyway, long story short, he told me about Pax Christi, which is the International Catholic Movement for Peace.
Mhm.
And I got involved, and I've been involved ever since, over 40 years. So.
Now, is that the Latin for the peace of Christ?
Peace of Christ, right. And it started right after World War II in Germany and France.
Oh, okay.
So they celebrated their 75th anniversary. So it felt right for me to connect my faith with my desire for peace. And that has led me many, many places and many protests, but also a lot of learning. I've learned so much over the years.
It's wonderful. You've mentioned to me that you were a delegate to the United Nations for Pax Christi. Are they a consultative member?
Yeah, consultative status.
Okay.
And there are 5 delegates from Pax Christi International, and I was one. So it's a voluntary thing, but you go to the non-NGO meetings, which were always held on a Thursday. And you'd meet up with other NGOs to try to bring about change. And if you think it's hard to bring about change in Westerly, you should see what happens at the UN. I mean, 180 countries, maybe more now, that all have their own agenda, but so much hope And to me, it was one of the most exciting things I had done, to go and meet people from all over the world, to talk about peace, talk about getting along with each other. I was on the Human Rights Committee, the AIDS Committee at first, because
Wow.
I had taught about AIDS education in my health classes. So I was familiar with that whole issue. And then sustainable development. So, there was so much to learn.
Mhm.
So I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
That's wonderful. I mean, you mentioned teaching about AIDS in your health class, and it occurred to me that in a period of time, you would have gone from being a health teacher to being a delegate to the United Nations. Did that, did that strike you at all at the
I
time?
wondered a lot of times what I was doing there, but it was ordinary people like me that are working nonprofits, NGOs, like people from the Rotary Club, from every religion possibly, uh, women's groups that were all trying their best to work for the good of humankind, in any way that they could. It's a very difficult job because I did not, it's hard to see the results,
Hmm.
but you would lobby, you'd meet with delegates from different countries, you'd go to conferences. And for me, I did a lot of writing at that time of many of the meetings that I went to. And then it was published in the Pax Christi International newsletters. And so it was a really exciting time for me. Um, and I had to give it up because to go from Westerly to New York is much more difficult than from where I lived in the Hudson Valley. So.
Oh dear. So we gained Madeline Labriola, but then the United Nations lost out.
Well, I'm sure they miss me, but I'm happy to be here. And I think it's true with life. One door closes and another door opens. So when I got to Westerly, of course, I felt a little bit like, how am I going to find my niche? Or are there good people here? I had so many friends and so many connections in my small town in New York.
Yeah.
But what I found out was, number one, there are good people everywhere. And I feel very welcomed and accepted in this community, even though I don't know as many people as I would have in my hometown. I think the people that I do know, I'm very grateful for. So
I'm sure they're grateful for you too. You come across as such forgive me for saying, such a kind and loving soul. It's hard to imagine anyone not being thrilled to have you in their life.
Thank you, Mike. That's nice to say. But I can be a troublemaker.
Oh, really?
That's the side of me that.
Could you give us an example of you doing some troublemaking?
Well, I've been arrested for civil disobedience.
Really?
And, yeah, at the nuclear test site in New Mexico as part of a Pax Christi effort, and then protesting against the Iraq war outside of the White House.
Wow.
And that was something I always thought I would want to do, but it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of soul searching. And you have to try to do it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was teaching, I didn't want to take a chance to do that because there's some things that maybe you should have to be careful of. I'll just put it that way. But once I had retired, I felt like I was free to do those kinds of actions with many other people. I wasn't the only one. But my children always tease me about that. Like, yeah, we'll bail you out. We'll bail you out, Mom. And I must say they've been very supportive of all of the things that I've been doing.
That's wonderful. You have a bit of a rap sheet, but it's good trouble that you got into. So that's
good trouble. I love that. Yes.
Right. Well, you mentioned you came here. You started looking for a niche. I'll say that word a little strange, I guess. but you started looking for a way to get involved in your typical activism here in Westerly. How did that start, and what did that look like?
Well, I joined the gym. That was the first thing, and my license plate was my New York license plate said World Pox. And one day I walked out to my car and Frank Thacker was standing there saying, "You're the girl with the World Peace uh, license plate. Yeah, I've got just the group for you." And he told me about Westerly Peace and Justice. And he told me when the next meeting was, and I went. And I met this wonderful group of people who are still some of my closest friends. This is like 6 or 7 years ago now. And that was that's how I felt most at home, with people who were all working toward a better world for everybody in our own little way. Being out there, they were out on the street corner almost at least once a month, doing things like, protesting the Iraq War, or environmental justice, and executions, death penalty issues.
Right.
Yeah, all really important issues.
And there's another group that you're involved in that's out once a week now, the Westerly A.R.C. We've talked to them a few times. How'd you get involved with them?
Well, what happened when George Floyd was murdered,
Mhm.
actually, Westerly Peace and Justice, we called for a peaceful protest
Mhm.
right after that. And believe it or not, we put it out on our social media and talked to people. First time, there were over 200 people that showed up. I believe that's when April Dinwoody and a few other people noticed that there were people protesting. And the next week, some other group called for a protest, and we went. And so this group just started from that little first day that we wanted to do something, into a continuing effort to look at the issues of racism, not only in our nation, but here in our community, and to help maybe bring about change where it's necessary, so that everybody feels safe. And what I love about this group is this diversity. Westerly A.R.C, which I happen to be on the steering committee, which is made up of only 8 people, but we have 126 people on our email list who are coming, some very regularly, and but the 8 people on our steering committee, for instance, are from ages, I don't know how old Kayla is, but maybe 19 or 20, all the way up to me. I'm going to be 80 in October.
Okay.
So we have this wide range of ages, races,
Mhm.
nationalities, cultures, religions, and it's a really wonderful group of people to work with. And so I'm very excited about the work that they're doing, and also their honesty and their real desire to see um, not only justice served, but all people treated with respect. So
Now, you've taken this notion that all people should be treated with respect from the corner of Main Street all the way to the headquarters of the world. You've put in a lot of work on that. I feel like you have so much to share and to teach. I'm going to give you the last word here. If you could share any message with our audience, what would you like them to take away from having heard you speak?
well, I think the most important thing that I always taught all of my students, and I hope I taught my children,
Mhm.
is that we really are all in this together. That we're going to rise together, or we're going to fall together, whether it's climate change, nuclear weapons, issues of race, LGBTQ issues, we really need each other. And we need to listen with an open heart and hear what the other person and find common ground. So I think dialogue is really important. And I would hope that in this particular climate, unfortunately, it seems dialogue is harder. But that doesn't mean we should keep trying to hear each other and to be there for each other and find what so much about us is alike. I mean, we're so much alike. No matter, I've been all over the world, and I find people everywhere all want the same thing: to live in peace, to be free to be who they are, and to be kind. So I guess that's my philosophy: is be kind and try to listen and help each other. It sounds simple, doesn't it?
It sounds simple, but man, it's turned out to be so hard. And
I
and
know.
it only ever works because of folks like you. It did me so much good to hear you talk today, and to speak with you. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This for our viewers this morning, for us this evening. I hope we get to talk with you again because this was wonderful.
Thank you, Mike, and good luck. And Ben, thank you. And I'm glad I was able to figure out how to get on. So that's good.
Me too.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you.
Yes,
That has completely off topic. Do you have a daughter named? I mean, do you have a granddaughter named Amanda?
I do. Yes, she's my son John Labriola. You asked if
Mike, yeah,
Mike had.
I had Amanda in a play that I did once. I can't remember which play it was, but I know that she had a broken leg, I think, at the time.
My grandkids have had broken some things, but she's the third of 4 daughters that my son John has, who teaches at Charival. And that's why the question was, did you have him in school?
I didn't, but I remember him. I didn't. Oh man, I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Well, that's okay. He's known as Mr. Labs, so you might not have.
Yep.
But Amanda's in Hawaii now, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yes, she'll be home this summer. I'll make sure she sees this this video. Well, first I have to watch it first to see.
There you go. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me come on. I'm happy to share a little bit of what I've been doing.
Please come
Absolutely.
again. It was great.
Okay, so do you cancel me out or do I?
I'll take you off. Thank you very much. She was delightful.
She was. I'm so glad we got to talk with her today. She had such a powerful message about, and it came from her faith, but it really is interfaith, what she was talking about, the dignity of each and every single human being, the fact that we just need to talk to each other more. It did a lot of good to my heart to hear her talk.
Absolutely. You have a knack for getting great guests, and by the way, I mean, everyone that's involved with Westerly A.R.C. that we've had on the show has just been a
rock star.
Yeah, they've just each and every one of them.
Yeah.
So that was no surprise. And also knowing her son a little bit as a teacher and her granddaughter, it all makes a little bit more sense now where their wonderful personalities have come from. So that's it. Do you have anything else to say on the show today, my friend?
Yes, I don't talk about my work very often, and I'm not going to get into it too much. But I did want to share something. One of the projects I'm managing is in Bangladesh. It's involves a camp in a town called Cox's Bazar, where refugees from the Rohingya genocide are being sheltered. And I won't get into what we're doing. We're trying to help them. I think that what I wanted to share today is it's all being locked down, and our program has to be suspended because COVID has gone out of control again in Bangladesh. And yesterday, 2 days ago for you folks watching, on July 1st, the country entered a period of extreme shutdown again. And I just wanted to mention that this 4th of July weekend, because I want us to take a moment to think about how lucky we are that our country has managed to put it together, that we get to celebrate this glorious weekend with each other, and to take a moment to think about how we can help the parts of the world where that kind of fortune didn't shine, where death is still very rampant, and how we can possibly share some of the bounty that we've been granted, because that's, I think, at the end of the day, what you're meant to do with a bountiful harvest, is to share it with your neighbors. Think about how lucky you are, and think about how you can help folks that are less lucky all over the world this 4th of July, because that's when America is at its best, when it's not just wrestling with itself, but when it's acting on behalf of the good of humanity. I just wanted to share that with everyone. Thank you for indulging.
Thank you, man. Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, our thoughts are with the people of Bangladesh right now.
Absolutely.
And everywhere in the world, where, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too far, because I would not stop. But if you want to be on the show, send an email in to thisweekinwesterly@gmail.com.
We have a new email.
We have a new email. Send it in to thisweekinwesterly@gmail.com, and that will, as soon as I set it up while Mike was talking, so he doesn't know about this, but it will forward to Mike's email address. And so if you have questions, if you want to get in contact with the people that we've had on the show, if you want to be on the show, send an email to Mike at thisweekinwesterly@gmail.com. We're going to make it extremely simple for you. Yeah.
You didn't tell me about any of this. It just showed up at the bottom of the screen. It's brilliant. Good.
All right.
Well,
send us out.
Everyone, I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Celebrate 245 years of American freedom, and celebrate each other, celebrate yourself, and celebrate Westerly. Have a great Saturday.